Hi, this is Jeff Owens from the Classic Horrors Club podcast. Welcome to the video companion for episode 56, Captive Wild Jungle Woman. This video contains highlights and bonus features from the full podcast, which you can find on SoundCloud at the link shown below. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Wild woman, you come to me when I needed some sympathy. I could hardly feel. Oh, but you and me.
Ready?
Waiting on you.
All right. Richard, that song's a little different pace than what we've done in other episodes. That is Wild Woman by Bruno Lewis featuring Josh Dell. It's a 2020 single available on Apple Music. Not quite the disco dance, blood pumping, heart pounding music we've been listening to, but I do think it sets the tone for today's episode. The kind of growly.
Does one call Helen Reddy disco blood pumping music? I'm not quite sure.
You're obsessed with that. That was a couple episodes ago.
I guess that was a few episodes.
Pet Shop Boys since then. I know you love The Morning After. I know it. I do too. But time to move on.
Time to move forward. Yes.
Yeah. So why is the song Wild Woman appropriate?
Well, we are taking a look this episode at 3 films from Universal that often get overlooked. They kind of get looked down upon, but I think that they were worth a look. I haven't heard anyone really talk about these movies. I thought it would be fun. So we're taking a look at Captive Wild Woman, Jungle Woman, and Jungle Captive. Is that right? Because I get those kind of twisted and turned.
I believe so. And I just want to warn everyone, at least I will probably get those confused as we go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because they really do kind of blend together. And really you could watch them all together in one big, long 3-hour Zack Snyder cut. And they really would kind of flow together rather well, more or less.
Doing research, I heard those called the Sheila the Ape Woman series or something like that. And I've always known them as the Paula the Ape Woman trilogy.
Yeah. I there's a few different names that have been attached to it, but Paula Dupree is the main character, or the character of the Ape Woman. So, the Jungle Woman trilogy or the Paula Dupree, the Ape Woman trilogy, any of those titles will work. Nonetheless, they're films that didn't get released until the end of the VHS era. Not all of them even got released on DVD. So I think that it'll be fun to take a look at these movies. As we mentioned last month, you're going to hear a lot of names familiar with the Inner Sanctum 6 films we covered, because the same time period and a lot of the same writers and directors and stars were all kind of doing the same thing around this time in Universal. So there will be some repetition. I will try not to do much. I know we didn't really talk much about Aquanetta last time, because I think I was trying to save it for this time. So, but there's going to be some bleed over, because all of these movies were being cranked out at the same time. And unlike Inner Sanctum, these 3 movies have been very hard to get together until just recently, when they were put together in I guess it's going to be the final Universal Blu-ray set, I believe, from or the next to the last one that Shout Factory is cranking out, because I think they've stopped, haven't they?
As far as I know, yes. And it is the 5th. There's 6, and this was the 5th.
The next to last, yeah. So,
well, let's pump the brakes a little bit and back up and introduce ourselves. I'm Jeff Owens from ClassicHorrors.club.
And I'm Rich Chamberlain from kccinephile.com and monstermoviekid.wordpress.com.
Yes, and this is episode 56. Wow. And let's not forget our audience on YouTube. Welcome, everybody, to the companion show. We have pretty much jumped into it, and we're having a great time with it, but we're starting to take a little more critical look at it, and probably not this episode, but I think you'll see some improvements coming, better lighting and things like that. So of course, it's not about us, Richard, so the clips and the
Yes.
pictures and the music videos and all that, but
I
we
think
want
that
to make it the best experience possible. So we'll be working on
absolutely.
that.
So one thing is I've been watching all these videos that we've done, just kind of one right after the other. And so I know that if you watch the Barbara Steele episode, you got tired of looking at the top of my head. I was listening to Jeff. I usually have my notes down in front of me, which doesn't really matter if the camera's not on. But if the camera's on, it might have given a perception. So I've already made some adjustments this episode. I've got my computer and my camera and Jeff and my notes all in front of me. So hopefully you'll notice that you will see less of my head. And actually, being on the computer, I won't have to have my glasses on, so I won't look like Grandpa Rich anymore putting on the glasses. So yeah, we need to do some things with lighting and stuff like that. We're having fun with these, but we really do want to hear what you have to say. So as you're watching the videos, let us know, if you listen or don't listen to the podcast. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you want to see, what you don't like, what you do like. As London randomly jumps in the top of Jeff's head, that maybe we need more London in the episodes. I don't know. So we want to hear from you. So let us know. And thank you for hanging in there as we figure out this new YouTube fandangled technology thing. So.
And I'm sorry, but there's nothing I will be able to do about my head and the real estate here. So
yeah,
that's something that's not going to change.
I got this nice glow, which is we're going to try to figure that out. But I'm facing the windows, and Jeff's got windows off to the side of him. So unless we build a studio, maybe we need to do a Kickstarter campaign, and I think we should start modestly with $150,000. We could do a nice studio for that, folks. So we'll launch that soon.
Patreon, here we come.
Creature of evil, running amok, blazing a trail of fear-crazed horror. From the jungle's most guarded secret comes this amazing story of a captive wild woman, torn between the mad cravings of animal blood and the longing for human love. A woman whose jungle instincts give her sinister power over man and beast.
And suppose your experiment does succeed. What will you have? A human form with animal instincts.
You know what the police will do to you if they catch you? No, of course you don't. They put you on trial. Then they'll put you in the electric chair and kill you.
June 4th, 1943, Captive Wild Woman made its debut on the big screen. And, compared to other films around this time, they were getting the monsters, right? We were getting 43, Son of Dracula came out, right? In 43. Frankenstein and Wolfman and the Mummy and all of these great monsters. And then we get Paula Dupree, the Ape Woman. It was a bit of a letdown. That's part of the problem with this movie, I guess, as far as like the billing, right? It's like, well, who do you put? Well, there's no Chaney, there's no Karloff, so who do you put? There's no Lugosi. John Carradine wasn't a household name, and Evelyn Ankers isn't necessarily going to draw them in on the monster crowd. So you didn't have that star power, and you didn't quite have, I don't think in any of these movies, you didn't quite have 65 minutes of story. Honestly, you could have combined all three movies into one and had a good solid 80-minute movie, probably. My initial thoughts, and we'll dive into deeper, but this was a fun film, and I think it doesn't deserve some of the hate that other people kind of throw on it. No, it's not a Frankenstein meets the Wolfman or other even contemporary films of the time that were non-universal, but it's not it's not like Poverty Row level. I mean, it's got a nice polished look. Yeah, it's got some stock footage, a lot of it at times, but it was a fun film, I thought.
Yeah, it's basically a variation on the Wolfman. Um,
More or less, yeah.
but yet, I don't think they take advantage of that enough
No,
to really make it something.
I bid you welcome.
I love dead.
Universal Studios Home Video presents the most famous monsters of all time in one horrifying collection.
I am Dracula.
It's alive!
8 classic films in all new packaging, featuring original poster art, plus trailers. Look for a special edition of Dracula. Scored for the first time by world-renowned composer Philip Glass and performed by Kronos Quartet.
What music they make.
The Universal Classic Monster Collection. Look inside each video for a $5 savings offer and take them home forever.
The sequel to Captive Wild Woman, Jungle Woman came out on June 1st, 1944. It was again a Universal picture, directed by our friend from last episode, Reginald Laborg. And you'll probably talk more about that later. This was my least favorite of the three. I like some things it does, but it's more problematic for me than it is satisfactory. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, from a story perspective, this is the least favorite. I have to admit, though, I might like this a tad better than Jungle Captive because of some of the cast.
Yeah.
I said this last time and I'll say it again. I really like J. Carroll Nash. And so he always kind of elevates a movie for me. But
I agree with you on that. But I think there you can kind of draw a line. I think everyone else is pretty awful. Aquanet excluded. Yeah. And, we talked last time about how Paula, the ape woman, becomes attracted to one of the men, and that creates that guy, Bob, I don't know what. She's awfully desperate to be attracted to him. No charisma, no energy, not even really very good looking.
It's interesting, right? That Evelyn Ankers gets star billing in this movie, playing now Beth Mason, married now to Fred Mason. We have Milburn Stone back as Fred Mason. So Evelyn Ankers gets starring role in this movie above J. Carroll Nash because she was, I guess, a slightly bigger name at this point. But she's barely in this movie. She's in one scene in the coroner's office. She gets a handful of lines. She filmed that scene. I guarantee you it took like an hour to film that scene, right? And then she gets star billing. Clearly, they felt like she was the name they wanted to bank on more than anybody else. And I'm willing to bet she agreed to do this movie, if they gave her star billing. So, but she's not the star of this movie, and she's barely in it. Milburn Stone as Fred Mason. He gets 2 scenes, right? Because he's in the coroner's office, but then he also gets a scene where he's talking to Dr. Fletcher at the sanitarium. So and I guess technically Fred Mason's in more than that, right? Because we do have the flashback sequences that, as you said, flashbacks within flashbacks, because not only are we getting the flashbacks to Captive Wild Woman, of course, then we're also getting the stock footage from the big cage being reused. So you're doing a flashback of the last film with the stock footage and the flashback. 7 degrees of like something or other. Anyway,
well, so much of this movie is the recap. The cardinal sin of this movie, though, is I don't believe until the very end, when she's lying dead, do we even see Paula in her ape woman form. It's a shadow that attacks people and kills people. We see no transformation. Maybe her hand under the blanket or the sheet, I'm not sure. But if you're going to use some stock footage, use at least a little of that from the first movie to show the monster.
Yeah, if you don't have a big budget, which clearly they didn't with these films, you would have thought that, okay, if you're relying on that stock footage, then let's see some of that, as opposed to, Clyde Beatty, going on about his, lion taming again. I don't know. I just, they for kind of coming in with the mix of all the other better movies they were cranking around, out around this time, it does seem like this one, they really were, they lacked some inspiration for this one, because there's more story in the next one than there is in this one.
Wait a minute. I gotta check with the police first.
Police?
Yeah, it's the law.
Where are you keeping the ape woman?
Right over here. You want to see her?
Yeah. It's Fred.
Now, please let me out of here.
Anne, I need you.
What do you mean?
I need your blood.
Jungle Captive, July 29th, 1945. So, summer blockbusters, I guess, 3 years in a row, summertime adventures with Paula, the ape woman. Well, I don't think we have any flashbacks in this one. I don't think, do we? I don't think there was any. And no stock footage either in this one. Really.
So a real opportunity to break out and do something new, right?
Yes, this was an opportunity. And, it's not quite they didn't quite take advantage of that opportunity. And we don't really quite have necessarily the big name draws, I guess, into this one. Vicki Lane takes on the role of Paula Dupree. Apparently Aquanetta had moved on to bigger and better things. At least we have Rondo Hatton as Moloch the Brute, not playing the creeper role that he would, but kind of the same, really, in a way. I mean, more of a subservient character, I guess, this go around. This one has a better story because we're not dealing with flashbacks, and we're not dealing with flashbacks within flashbacks and stock footage. Stock footage of stock footage, I don't know. But something about this one, again, I kind of put it in a tie with the Jungle Woman, because it falls a little short for me, but there is more story here than what we get with the Jungle Woman. I enjoyed it enough. Again, it didn't necessarily blow me away, but it's not the worst film I've seen, and I don't think it's necessarily the worst Universal film I've seen.
And I like Rondo Hatton in this. And what I didn't really like is that they stuck with that theme of the monster, falling in love with somebody. And this time, though, it was Rondo Hatton that was smitten by Anne. And Anne, was her name Anne? Getting them mixed up. Whoever
Yes,
the woman was.
yeah,
So
Anne,
that sort of shifted, in which in turn makes Paula the Ape Woman sort of a secondary character in this release. And the other thing I didn't like is that there's a dog that's killed.
Yeah.
Anything else, Richard, before I introduce our song while we leave?
I was gonna say, where can people find you? I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I don't know if we did.
I can be found at classichorrors.club, DC Comics Guy, and that's it, I think.
You have your other website, but you haven't done it for.
I know. Reaction Shot. I need to do something on that.
Well, yeah, and CaseyCinephile.com and MonsterMovieKid.wordpress.com is where you can find me.
We'll go out on a song called Jungle Woman by Karen Park. It's from the 2009 album Ashes to Gold, and it's available like almost all the songs we play, except for Beauty's in the Eye of the Beholder, on Apple Music. So thanks again for listening. Thank you, YouTube watchers, for watching, and
Yes,
see you next month.
Bye, everyone.
Jungle woman makes her way around in the strangest ways. Snakes and crocodiles try to make sure she's led astray. When she comes to me, she's warming me up. She's melting what used to be frozen.